Say hey, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. Alongside me is my guy, Ian Cameron. Ian, how are you doing?
Very good. Overhead light is off today because it's getting pretty hot here in this area. So keeping things cool with the lights. I sweat like sometimes actually when it's in this room when the overhead lights are on. So we're trying to keep cool. It's a very warm day today, and hopefully the picks are warm on the diamond tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping so as well. Did the show earlier this morning with Peter Loshak, so shout out to Pete. I hope Jimmy's feeling better tomorrow, so hopefully see him. But it should be a good show today. Bobano's got a full slate of action, of course. I've got 7 plays I'll give out throughout the show. Should be a lot of fun. And as Peter Loshak says, let's keep a brisk pace. Rocco Rogers, we can in fact see your comments. Appreciate you for watching, my man. And shout out to Justin McElvey, over 5.5 strikeouts, dropping his Stacks Pod play of the day there. Shout out to him, 17-14 record. Let's get right after it, Bobano. Fun card, interesting game to start here. Miami Marlins versus your San Diego Padres here. In a Padres team that I have just decided I will just flat not be backing until they show me some sort of life. It's the same problem as we've been saying. The star players aren't really playing that well. They've been injured. The bullpen's great. And, some part of their starting rotation is good, but I'm just not going to back this squad. For me, it's definitely Miami Marlins or pass here. 5-cent movement from this morning, 135 now to minus 140 for your Miami Marlins. Sandy on the bump, who pitched well against the Rockies last time out. And the Marlins hit lefties well. So I'd lean Marlins here. No play for me. Bobano, what about you? What do you want here?
Yeah, I mean, that's the lean for me as well, but I don't ever like laying this kind of minus 140, mid-range price with the Miami Marlins. And Alcantara's not been the Alcantara of last year overall this year. He's had some bumps in the road. He's pitched better here at home. Yet the Marlins just 1-4 in his 5 home starts this year. So I do think I trust him more than Weathers. You mentioned they're better against lefties. They are. And I'm not a Ryan Weathers guy at all. He's come back into the rotation here. The last 2 trips to the hill here in May have not been good. 9 runs, 10 hits, 11.2 innings against the Dodgers and the Nationals. Both of those losses. The Padres are 0-3 in Weathers' last 3 starts this season. So I definitely lean Miami, but I don't like the price enough, so it's a pass.
Agreed there. I passed. I like the Marlins here, but I didn't want to bet them at minus 140. Shout out to Rocco Rogers, a little home run lotteries. He's calling it there. Judge Soler and Julio Daniel, home run plus 6,437 there. There you go.
Well, Soler and Judge in particular, it's they're hitting a home run almost daily right now, so can't argue that.
Yeah, honestly, I keep seeing Aaron Judge first inning home runs, and every day I'm just like, at what point do we just start betting Aaron Judge home run, Aaron Jennings first home run of the game? Because it seems like every other Yankee game, it's him in the first inning hitting a solo blast. And by the way, he's on pace again to do what he did last year. So we'll see how that goes. So it might be home runs galore for Aaron Judge. Let's talk Texas Rangers, Detroit Tiger. Another lean here for me. And, Bobana, when I was talking to Loshak this morning, it felt like I was just liking all the favorites. I'm like, ugh, this is gross, because Martin Perez, first 5 innings. That's what I thought here against the Detroit Tigers team, not hitting lefties in the second half of this month. So I lean that way against a very hot Texas Rangers squad. So what do you think?
I actually have a small bet on Detroit here in this game with Faedo. I think Faedo actually has some bet-on capabilities. He pitched, I think, his best start of the year last time out. Very, very impressive. 6 innings, 3 hits, only 2 runs allowed, 10 strikeouts against the White Sox. Now, Chicago White Sox, have had some issues offensively this year. Texas will be a little bit of a step up, but I think Faedo in his home ballpark can pitch okay. And I think there's some negative regression signs pointing at Martin Perez. Overall this year he's been okay, but I think when you look at his peripheral numbers, the 3.83 ERA, a lot of it is higher than that ERA. And on the road, his ERA does go up a little bit to 4.78 on the road. So Texas is playing great baseball. I mean, in terms of current form, there's certainly reasons to like Texas here. But I think Faedo's got some good stuff ahead of him. He's coming off some better starts, especially the last one against Chicago. Rangers have never seen him. And again, his home numbers are decent. So I thought, actually a little value on Detroit here. Again, it's not a big bet because of the form of Texas, but I thought Martin Perez, there's definitely multiple indicators that point maybe something's going to be, there's some bad times coming for Perez in terms of he's going to get roughed up at some point, and maybe that's tonight.
All right, shout out to you, Bobano. Like I said, I was on all the favorites this morning. I liked all the favorites. I didn't make any bets on those favorites, and I felt gross about it. So I'm glad that you're on the underdog there, making me feel like I definitely should not be betting this game. Let's move on to another favorite I liked here, Cleveland, Baltimore, and the line has moved towards Cleveland a bit, minus 140 now. Kyle Gibson on the bump. Kyle Gibson pitching really well, really, really well, and is a guy that anyone could have picked up this year. So shout out to the Orioles for somehow figuring him out. 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs against the Yankees. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run against the Blue Jays. And now he's going against one of the worst offenses in baseball. I'll be interested to see here how that happens. I definitely lean first 5 under here, and you guys will notice I have a lot of first 5 unders on my card today. No Cedric Mullins as well for the Orioles here, so it's another keep bat gone, and I think Cal Quantrill can be good enough to keep these bats down. So I lean first 5 under here for sure. Bobana, what'd you think?
Yeah, another small underdog bet for me with Cleveland here. First 5 full game split. And I don't bet against Baltimore very often, but we're seeing some signs of, a little bump in the road for Baltimore. They haven't been hitting here the last few games. 3 runs or less in 4 straight games for this Orioles lineup. They've only won 1 of those games, and that came against Bradford, who's terrible, to be quite honest with you. And they only got 3 runs against him. Quantrill, again, last start wasn't great. He has had a couple rough ones, but overall, he's actually been better on the road. Cleveland's 4-1 with Quantrill on the road this year. So they've actually won 4 of his 5 road starts. Cleveland's starting to play a little bit better. He's still worried about their lineup. They're not exactly a lineup that's hitting and scoring runs in bunches, but they may not have to tonight because I think Quantrill can neutralize Baltimore a little bit. And I could see Cleveland winning a 4-2, type of game here tonight against the Orioles. And I certainly would lean under as well, but I'm going to go with a Cleveland Guardians look here. First 5 full game split.
I agree there. I guess I would have to lean towards the Guardians just based off of some line movement. And the number went from 8.5 to 9 for the total. So I have to stay off of the first 5 under that I like here as well. But I like your opinion there, Bobano. Let's move on to your beloved Toronto Blue Jays, who I don't know if they turn the season around. They've had their first players only meeting of the year. We'll see. They've kind of played okay since then. Minnesota's no slouch of a team, so whatever. But I like them here today, and Adrian Hauser's pitched well, and shout out to Peter Loshak. I believe we're both on this. First 5 under here. Let me double check here. First 5 under 5 minus 110 for me. I got that this morning. I think Yusei can beat a Brewers team who we know doesn't hit lefties, and Adrian Hauser been pitching well enough. So I thought a 5 was a little high, and I bet the first 5 under there.
Yeah, this one, I don't know if Hauser's style is going to work well here in Toronto in this ballpark, and I don't trust Kikuchi right now at all. So my initial lean was over, but at the same time, Hauser's pitching well, and Kikuchi, look, he's been roughed up, but man, Milwaukee, we've talked about this on both shows, Jimmy's show, this one, they don't hit lefties at all. And there's even been times of horrendous, bad lefties, like really, really bad left-handed pitchers, and they still haven't hit Milwaukee against them. So it's tough. Like Kikuchi's there for the picking to hit this guy, and I don't even know if I can trust Milwaukee to do it. So it's a really, really tough game, just a small lean over the total.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see how Hauser does here against a good offense. And Kikuchi got touched up against 2 ALE squads, Baltimore and Tampa Bay last 2 outs. So those are tough squads, obviously. We'll see how he faces against a team that doesn't know him as well. Another first 5 under here for me in Boston versus Cincinnati. It makes me feel good about this one because this morning it was a 10, dropped down to 9.5 now. The Red Sox team in the last 2 weeks has not been hitting the best, but they're back home now. That's obviously a check in that box. 66 weighted runs created plus in the last 2 weeks for the Red Sox. Just horrible, but they're going to start hitting here. Ben Lively, he's shown like he can be a pretty good pitcher. So I took first 5 under 5.5 here at -117. I obviously think Brian Bayo is very good. Think he's going to pitch well against the Reds offense that admittedly hitting well, 94 weighted runs created plus last 2 weeks, 88 full season. So I respect that, but don't think it's going to be enough here to get over. So I'm hoping a quiet start to this game for both squads. First 5 under 5.5 -117.
Yeah, the total could go either way. I'm looking more at the side here. I like the Reds here as a dog. I think very live, to be honest, at plus 148. First 5 full game split is definitely something I'm interested in here in this one. Bayo's numbers at Fenway aren't great, 4.58. He has pitched better lately. There's no question. The Angels game, kind of a tough luck loss for him. He pitched well, but they didn't score for him. They lost 4-0. But still, at Fenway, he hasn't been nearly as effective. And Ben Lively's been very good here. 2 starts with the Reds here in May, 4 runs in 11.2 innings. How about 16 strikeouts in 11.2 innings? So you talk about a guy that's able to miss bats right now. Ben Lively, living up to his last name, his stuff is lively. It's definitely moving. It's definitely getting hitters off balance. So he's looking, and look, the Reds are a team I cashed a few times this past weekend with as big underdogs against the Cubs, and sure enough, they swept that weekend series against the Chicago Cubs. All of a sudden, the Reds are also 5-2 in their last 7 games, so they're slowly starting to play better baseball. Their offense has been better the last couple of weeks. The last 10 games, there's also an advantage in this split for Cincinnati. They're hitting 47 points better team batting average against righties than Boston in the last 10 games, and they're averaging over a 1.5 more per game in the last 10 games against righties than Boston. So I think this is a very live dog tonight with this suddenly Cincinnati team that's in some good form.
Here we go. Some Reds action for Bobano. Line has moved towards the Red Sox, but I would agree with you there about the Reds being live here. This Red Sox not hitting, obviously being home is a nice antidote for that, but I don't think they should be -180. Didn't think they should be -175 earlier this morning either. So let's move on to the battle in the NL East. A good one here. Phillies versus your New York Mets here. Kodai Senga, who we obviously know pitches a lot better at home, versus Ranger Suarez. Mets hitting lefties pretty well last couple games. I should say last half of this month. 125 weighted runs created plus, 123 plate appearances. Last night it was at -135. It shot all the way up to -150. So Mets is the lean for the side here, but I'm on another first 5 under here. I think Ranger Suarez can spin it a bit and have his first good start of the year against the Mets. First 5 under 4.5 -102 here for me. Kodai Senga dominates the Phillies here at home. Probably should have been on Mets first 5 too earlier this morning, but oh well.
Yeah, I like Senga strikeouts prop here in this game. There's a few players I like, or pitchers I like here as far as strikeouts tonight are concerned. Senga's one of them. I think his over strikeouts here, over 5.5 -150 is a good look. I think he can get to 6 strikeouts. The one thing that would concern me about the under is Ranger Suarez's struggles, and he has definitely had some struggles of late. Allowed 5 runs, 5 hits against Arizona in his last start. It's been a tough start to the year for him. 9.82 ERA in his first 3 games over 11 innings. It's not very good. The Mets have been hitting lefties better, so that would worry me about the under, is the Mets getting to Suarez. But I don't think Philly is going to do a ton of damage against Senga. So maybe hopefully you get a 6-1 type of game maybe for the Mets. 5-1, that'll get the job done potentially. But I lean Mets. I just didn't like the price enough, but I am on Senga over strikeouts.
Senga over strikeouts. Bobano, what's the number you got in that?
5.5 -150.
5.5 there. Shout out to Kodai. I hope he pitches well. Maybe the Mets can just chill for a couple of innings. So first 5 under there for me. Let's go to a classic NL Central battle. I don't know. I guess it's the blue and the red clashing here that makes this feel nice. Royals, Cardinals here. Miles Michaelis, Zach Greinke. I mean, I took the -1 here for the Cardinals, -128. I don't know. Maybe this is a little too easy. Maybe I'm just falling into that trap again. But I've been betting on the Cardinals quite frequently this year. They're hitting okay against righties last 2 weeks, 102 weighted runs created plus. They've kind of cooled off a little bit from that hot streak they had after the horrible start they've got. I still think they're going to win this division. And beating up on the Royals is a key part of that equation. So I'm hoping they win here, -1 full game, -128. Miles Michaelis, do your thing. Let's go, Bobana. What do you have on this one?
Yeah, this one I like the over it a little bit. 8.5 is what I got. It's up to 9 now. Michaelis has struggled at home, but his current form is good. Like they've won 4 straight starts with him on the mound. He's pitched a lot better. I don't trust Greinke and his 6.6 ERA on the road. That's not necessarily what you want to see. He's kind of been one of these guys that's a lot of his good or better starts have been, at Kauffman Stadium as opposed to on the road. We'll see how he fares here against St. Louis. He hasn't pitched against them since last year. He did pitch well against them last year, but this year the road numbers worry me a little bit. And what worries me too is this is a very good Cardinals offense off a shutout loss yesterday, which was stunning to me. Although not as stunning as you'd think, because I actually took a small shot with Kansas City. I just thought, what's Wainwright doing laying that kind of price, even against the Kansas City Royals? And so I liked Kansas City yesterday. I don't like them today. I would lean St. Louis in a bounce-back spot after being shut out yesterday. Michaelis is in better form, but I played the total instead, over 8.5. Still lean it at 9.
Over there, and shout out to Morgan Spooner. Appreciating you for letting us know this. Club lineups are out. Morel and Wisdom are in. McClanahan's K's are locked for him.
I like it. Yep.
And
like
Morgan, let us know what price you got on that. What number, what price? I'd like to root on your bets as well as mine. Let's move on here. And brisk pace, as always, here with Bobano and a high volume. So we appreciate all you guys joining us. Hit the like button, retweet the show, tell your friends, jump in the chat, and let us know what you guys are on today. Rays and the aforementioned Cubs as we get into it, Morgan, here. McClanahan 8-0. He's just that guy. He just really is that guy. And the Rays have struggled here as of late. A first full season against righties, 129 weighted runs created plus, but the last second half of this month, 107, which is 12th. They've kind of gone under a little bit of a lull here, but the Rays are obviously still a good ball club. And I got bit last time right in the ass when I bet Kyle Hendricks' first start at home, thinking he'd be the same guy. He wasn't, but I think second start, I'm giving him another shot here against a Rays team that's a little colder. McClanahan does his thing. First 5 under here, 4.5, -115. Bobana, what about you?
Tampa, it kind of feels like this could be under. I don't think Hendricks will be as bad as he was that first start, and he usually does pitch better at Wrigley in his career. And McClanahan, I think, can neutralize the Cubs' bats. But have you seen Tampa Bay's totals like last 20 games, the results? I mean, they've been an over machine. They have. It's tough for me to bet an under. It just is. Even though this does kind of look like it could be an under matchup, I just can't get there. I can't do it. Betting under. With this baseball team, and especially now 8.5, which doesn't feel like a lot. So I'm passing the game, other than I do like McClanahan strikeouts. That is the one bet that I made. I think he's going to just dominate this Cubs lineup. Chicago hasn't been hitting very well for the better part of the last couple of weeks. Numbers against lefties aren't great. I think it's an opportunity for Shane McClanahan to rack up the Ks here. So over 6.5 is at -140 at BetMGM. So strikeout prop there, over 6.5 for Shane.
Beautiful strikeouts there. Morgan Spooner on it. I'll be very interested. Very interested to see how Hendricks does his thing here. This is make or break for me. If he doesn't have a good start here, I'm not backing him on the road. We know what he did last year on the road, and if he's kind of washed up here, we'll see how it goes. So I'll be having faith in him. I'm a little worried, but I'll have faith in him here. All right, let's move on. Angels, White Sox, next game on our slate. And every time there's a lefty against the White Sox, I have to remind myself that they're not that team anymore. Just not the juggernaut we used to know. But Giolito at home, another big home road splits guy. I hated just all of my leans being towards all the favorites, but I liked Giolito at home a lot better on the road. He needs to keep pitching well because he's going to be a free agent, so all that incentive in the world, et cetera, et cetera. His last start, he got touched up by the Tigers at the Tigers, so I think he can come back here and pitch well. But the Angels are a good squad. A 12th full season against righties, 17th last 2 weeks, 99 weighted runs created plus. So I'll be interested in Tyler Anderson has been pitching well, 4 straight wins when he has pitched for his team. So I passed. I lean towards the White Sox first 5, and I'll be interested to see because I was thinking of this earlier this morning. We obviously saw the full return of Liam Hendricks last night coming back to the majors. Will the White Sox get on a little bit of a tear, a little bit of a heater since he comes back and have that galvanizing force? We'll see. I passed. So, Bobano?
Yeah, I mean, Giolito has been better at home. Still don't really love his stuff, though, and what he's been doing overall. I think the Angels are capable, and their offense, after a little bit of a slump over the weekend, they got to Michael Kopech clearly last night, early in that game. I think they can score against the White Sox here, Giolito, and a suspect bullpen, but I actually think the White Sox will score as well. Anderson, I know, has been in better form, but you got the White Sox in their better split. Now, they're not mashing lefties like they did last year, 2 years ago, but it's still their better split, no question. And so I think they can do some damage against the Angels. So I'm on over here, 8.5. I got it's up to 9, and it's actually juiced now to the over. So this is a heavy move to the over. 8.5 up to 9, and now the 9 to the over is juiced. But I fully agree with it. I think we're going to see runs. These are 2 tired bullpens. Both had to use a lot of arms last night. I think you see runs here tonight in Chi-Town.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. And shout out to Rocco Rogers, who's saying Luis Robert or Luis Robert, I should say, over 1.5 bases and his home run plus 330 there. So shout out to you, Rocco Rogers. Also mentioning a little bit of a one-inning syndrome for Michael Kopech. Had one bad inning and started dealing after that. So shout out to Michael Kopech.
I still think he's bet on because I was on the White Sox last night. I still think he's a bet on pitcher right now. He just had that one bad inning, and unfortunately, it hurt. It cost him, cost the team.
Yeah, he's an enigma, that guy. I just can't get with him. So let's move on. Fishy game of the day, fishy line of the day for me. The Twins were at minus 120 earlier today, and I was like, my detectors started like going up. I was like, Brandon Bielak? I mean, really? But I guess his Astros at home. Joe Ryan is one of my guys. I love him to death, but this is the second time I'll be fading him here, and maybe I haven't learned my lesson. I'm on Astros first 5 full game. Bet him this morning. Full game money line at plus 103 and first 5 plus 115. And now we can see a 10-cent movement all the way to the Astros. Now it's minus 110 each way. I think Bielak can pitch okay to well. And you know what's shocking? Minnesota, second half of this month, 126 weighted runs created plus against righties. That's second best, only behind the aforementioned Houston Astros. First, 132 weighted runs created plus. And this being an 8, again, was another interesting note there. So I bet the Astros here. I lean over to Bobana. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the Twins, even with the suspect line here. Joe Ryan's my guy. He's one of the guys I just bet on each and every time, pretty much. And it's been good last year for me and good for the Twins. He's a strikeout pitcher, and he's been very good this year as well. 7-3, the Twins in his 10 starts. I'm not as big a Bielak guy for the Houston Astros. 3.55 ERA his last start. Got roughed up by a light hitting Milwaukee team. 4 runs, 5 hits, 6.2 innings. Had 3 home runs allowed. That's problematic. And Twins, give them credit. That was a great effort they gave against Houston yesterday. They were up. They lost the lead. They came back and tied it. Still ended up losing, but I think that's a sign that this team's not going to go away quietly. Royce Lewis, total bases might be worth a look. I mean, the number 1 overall pick, finally healthy, and he's looking like he's going to be potentially a big-time hitter in this league. He's been very good with the Twins lineup. So there's no doubt it's a little interesting is the word I'll use to see that Houston's taking the money when it looks like Ryan's the better arm. But that kind of shit doesn't bother me. So I'm still on Minnesota.
Yeah, and I don't like fading my guy either. So, I mean, I did it once, and I got fucked in the face with Johnny Burrito or whatever his name was with the Yankees. So we'll see here. I like your looks.
And Joe Ryan strikeouts, too. I'm on that as well. Forgot to mention that. Joe Ryan over 5.5 strikeouts, -145.
All right. Shout out to Joe Ryan again. I like him. I think he could be a future Cy Young Award winner, but I don't know. Maybe he needs to get out of Minnesota, and I hope he does. So let's move on. Atlanta versus the squad that I don't like referring to. I am only speaking about them in this instance because I'm fading them. Braves team total over 5 here at -125. Shout out to Nutflush Allen there. We know that the Braves are one of the best hitting squads against lefty. JP Sears is a bad lefty. This seems kind of easy. So one of the worst teams in baseball ever in this fucking Oakland A squad. So Braves team total for me. Bobano, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Same bet. Atlanta team total over 5 is what I got at -120 at Caesars. 5 is there. I just preferred, let's get 5 instead of 5.5.
I got 5 too.
Yeah, exactly. Just in case they land on 5, but I think they'll get 6 or more. I mean, they mash lefties. Sears hasn't been great. It's a bounce back spot too, and I was worried about Atlanta in that spot yesterday, coming from Sunday Night Baseball, East Coast to West Coast, Sunday Night Baseball with no day off, and you have to travel East Coast to West Coast after playing Sunday night. That's a tough spot, and sometimes you're just dead. And they looked like a dead team last night. They just not good at bats, a little worn down, a little fatigued. Just. They didn't have it, and a lot of teams have not had it in that spot where they've had to play Sunday night and travel and play on Monday with no day off. So I excuse Atlanta for a horrible loss to the worst team in baseball last night. I think they bounce back here tonight against Oakland, and the team total to me is the best value look, over 5 -120.
Shout out to Rocco Rogers, who's on A's first 5 yesterday, and Paul Blackburn, the king of the first 5, is back in our lives. So that seems like it'll just be back to just betting Paul Blackburn first 5 with Oakland, and then just ignoring them for the rest of the week, essentially. So his rehab starts were so bad too, and of course he goes out there. You mentioned it was a great spot for him, and that the cross country travel, and then the A's showing up against Mike Soroka, who hasn't pitched in 2 years, it would seem. So I liked your looks there, Bobano, and I'm glad that we're on the same page there. And shout out to Beefy Bets, also liking Bryce Elder to get the win at +110 as well. Colorado, Arizona, next game on our card here. Freeland versus Gallen. Just an easy pass here for me. Gallen, obviously very good. The Rockies are very bad. But the Rockies against righties last 2 weeks, 121 weighted runs created plus, 4th best in the league. So a shout to them. Maybe a live dog here, but I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, Gallen on the road has been susceptible. Like, he's not been lights out away from the desert, but here in Arizona, he has been just awesome. Is his ERA barely 1 at home? I'm pretty sure of that. And I know they're undefeated with Gallen on the mound at home, this Arizona Diamondbacks team. So I ain't going against that, period. Yeah, 0.77 ERA, 5-0. For Arizona in his 5 home starts. I'm just not going against that. But at the same time, -245 does feel inflated when you can factor in that Freeland's actually been decent. They factor in that Arizona's not as good against lefties as a lineup. So it's just too overpriced for me. I ain't going against Gallen, but no value, pass.
Okay, glad we're on the same there. Pass for me. It's going to be tough. And Rick J saying NL West games are tough because they go back and forth and they're usually close. I would agree with you there. And Rocco Rogers mentioned this earlier today. Zach Gallen to get the win, +110. Shout out to you there and his assortment of.
That's the best way to bet things like this on big favorites. Get the pitcher to win bet, prop bet, and you'll get a much better price.
Yep. Someone mentioned earlier Bryce Elder too. So shout out to them as well. Same bet essentially there. Moving on, Yankees, Seattle Mariners, Nestor Cortez, Logan Gilbert. And I'm not making this bet, but it's Yankees or nothing for me here. I said this earlier today. It's the Yankees are the better team, subjectively. We step back and look at it. We would rather have the Yankees than the Mariners. It's just the starting pitching advantage is so great for the Mariners. It's very interesting. It keeps the line always going their way, but they end up losing these games in some form or fashion. So a plus money price on a better team, I think. I'd rather have the Yankees here, even if Nestor Cortez has been struggling as of late and all that good stuff. So if I'm betting this game, I'm taking Yankees full game money line, but I'm passing here.
Yeah, I'm on Seattle, but I understand that point. Like, I think it's not a bad price on the Yankees, but I feel it's a good bounce back spot. Gilbert is the much better arm right now,
Agreed.
and I've been on him all season, backing him all season. We're going to come back to the well here. A tough loss last night for them. Miller didn't have it. I think Gilbert will pitch better, and I think Seattle with them, they've been decent against lefties. They can get to Cortez a little bit. So first 5 full game split for me. Seattle minus 135 range.
Hope you cash them both. Because I cannot stand the Yankees, as everyone knows. Pittsburgh versus the Giants. We are flying through this card, so we appreciate everyone as always. Like we always say, I already gave my thoughts out this morning, so I love hearing Bobano's thoughts, hoping that they align with mine. And let's see if they align here, because the Pirates are going up against the Giants in a bullpen day, a.k.a. John Baribia to start the game and seemingly Sean Manaea to follow him. Nutflush Allen mentioning earlier this morning that Manaea has kind of accepted his bullpen role now and is seemingly a little bit more excited about it, looking to make the most of it, et cetera, et cetera. And the Pirates' numbers against lefties last 2 weeks have been pretty bad. 74 weighted runs created plus 26. I don't really have a play here. I don't trust the Giants either, unfortunately. 5th full season against righties, but the last 2 weeks, it feels like forever. They start off super hot against righties, and then they've just been falling since then. 94 weighted runs created plus 20th. So yeah, it was an easy pass here as well.
Yeah, at 8.5, I'm going to get in on the over here. Oviedo has been, for the most part, decent lately, but he didn't have a great start last time out. And overall, his ERA is still in the 4 range at 4.70. Manaea is going to be the primary pitcher after Brebbia starts the game for the San Francisco Giants. And I know he's been a little bit better as a bullpen reliever, but I know he was Fade City for me as a starter. And I still don't like where his control and his command is right now. 3 walks in the last appearance he made in just 3.2 innings. That's not good. That's not what you want to see. If I can get Pittsburgh to at least get a few on the board early, San Francisco to at least get a 2 or 3 on the board early, that really puts me in a good spot for the over. And I'll tell you why, because these bullpens are just destroyed, both of them. First of all, they've not been great lately, either bullpen. Second of all, they've had to pitch a shit ton of innings here the last few days, both the Pirates bullpen and the Giants. You go back to the Seattle series that Pittsburgh played over the weekend. That bullpen was taxed, overworked. And you could probably say the same thing about San Francisco going back to their weekend series against Milwaukee. They had to use a lot of their relievers, and they had a lot of innings pitched out of the bullpens. So these are worn-down bullpens. These are struggling bullpens. So if you don't get the over early, you can certainly get it late with these depleted bullpens. So I like over here.
Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to think about it right now, and maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but I don't feel like you see many 8.5s in San Fran.
Yep.
It's kind of higher than usual. So yeah, I like that look for you there, Bobano. I hope you cash there. And obviously, I don't think John Manaea is a good pitcher, and Johan Oviedo, I will always have doubts about. Next and final game here. If I wasn't keeping my volume down today, and I like I said on Loshak show this morning, I was actually coming into the game or into the day thinking I'm probably not going to have any bets today. I'll take a day off. That we've been having a little bit of a cold spell. Let's see it. But of course, I fucking do the show with Pete. I have now 7 bets on the card, and I didn't want to make it 9. I would have bet Nationals first 5 full game here, just fading the minus 300. But I'll tell you, the minus 300 or minus 330 now for your Los Angeles Dodgers. So, yeah, just no thanks. It just feels like an easy Dodger spot. Tony Gonsolin's been really good, and
Yeah.
I've faded him to failure many points. So, no thanks.
Yeah, more bad than good out of Jake Irvin for Washington. He's given up 14 runs in his last 10 innings of work. That's not good at all. All 3 overs. I've been betting a lot of overs with his starts, but I don't trust Washington against Gonsolin's pretty damn good form. He's been back in the rotation now for 6 starts. He's given up 3 runs or less in all 6 starts. And in fact, he's given up just a grand total this year of 9 runs in those 6 starts. And that's a span of 4, 7, 13, 18, 20, 28 innings. And he's only given up 9 runs. That's pretty damn good. But at the same time, no, I'm not getting involved on a minus 330 favorite. And there's very little value unless you put him in a parlay of some kind So, yeah, I mean, for me, it's a pass. Dodgers probably win, though.
Agreed there. Let's review all action here on a fast-paced Say Hey Plays 15-game card here done in 35 minutes. We appreciate you guys as always for joining us. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and become a member of the Pub Club today. Only $4.99 a month. It's a good way to support the club, support the pub, and it's a way that we keep the lights on. So shout out to everyone that is a pub member today. All right, reviewing all action here. I've got a lot of first five unders. We'll start with them. First five under in Milwaukee, Toronto. First five under 5 minus 110. First five under 5.5. First five under 5.5. There we go. So there's a lot of fives in there. Minus 117 in Boston, Cincinnati. First five under 4.5, minus 115 Tampa Bay, Chicago, and first five under in the Mets, Philadelphia Phillies game, 4.5, minus 102. Also bet Astros first five full game, first five money line plus 115, and full game money line at plus 103 this morning. Atlanta team total over 5, minus 125, and lastly Cardinals minus 1 at minus 128. So there we go. That's my action for the day. We're going to climb out of this hole one day at a time, hopefully. And hopefully the momentum is regained here today with my guy, Bobano. Bobano, I'm strapped in, ready to go. Ready to hear your 15 plays.
Actually, not nearly as many this week. To be honest, this is not my favorite card ever that I've seen on this Tuesday. Nothing I'm overly strong on, just, mild opinions on a lot of things. But nevertheless, let's hope we have another profitable night. It's actually been a nice baseball run the last few days. I know Friday's show things went well with the plays I mentioned on Jimmy's show. So let's hope for more good results here today. We'll start with Pittsburgh, San Francisco, over 8.5, minus 102. Detroit, plus 112, first five. Detroit, plus 118, full game split. Cleveland, plus 120, first five. Cleveland, plus 125, full game split. Minnesota minus 130, first five. Minnesota minus 102, full game split. LA Angels, Chicago White Sox over. I got 8.5, minus 120, over 9 now. I still endorse it. Seattle minus 130, first 5 innings. Seattle minus 132, full game split. Cincinnati plus 155, first 5 innings. Cincinnati plus 150, full game split. Kansas City, St. Louis over 8.5, minus 125. And Atlanta Braves team total over 5, minus 120.
Muted myself. Beautiful work there, Bobano. I appreciate you as always. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Beefy Bets, by the way, betting live pitches, balls, strikes, all that good stuff. That's fucking electric there, Beefy Bets. I obviously I live in Texas and gambling is illegal here, unfortunately, but I would love to go to a Rangers game, sit behind home plate, just bet live balls and strikes, because we obviously know the apps aren't updating that quickly. We're there. So shout out to that, Beefy Bets. That's really cool. Rick J, I feel the same way. AOD, Rocco Rogers dropping a first 5 Dodgers and D-backs parlay there. Shout out to you, Roger, that, my guy. Thank you, as always, all you guys. RVD 420, Saturated, Cheshire Cat, Morgan Spooner in here as well earlier. Shout out to you, Justin. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Markel, Talk Sports with JT, Memorabilia. Appreciate you all for watching, guys. We're going to have a good day here today on the Pub Club Hub. It's all the same. Bobano, where can the people find you at?
Yeah, Twitter at Bobano, as always, and we'll be on next. Probably we might be on maybe one of the live casts, and if not, next Tuesday, right back here for the Say Hey Plays. And like I say, this is my off season right now, where I slide into the background a little bit. It's time to not do shows every friggin' day like I did for September to April. It's I need the break, and I'm enjoying it right now.
Yeah, it's almost Ticast season, so
that's right. Next week, CFL.
Yeah, it's
Looking
gonna be
forward
fun.
to it.
Yeah, as now I know what the season ticket holder life is like, Boban. I'm excited. I bought my season tickets for UTSA. I paid the extra to get the paper tickets as well because I want to keep those. Feeling
souvenirs,
great.
Right?
Yeah, of course. It's gonna be awesome. And of course, Bobano, first home game of the season. I have a wedding on that day, so I'm actually going to the tailgate in my tuxedo I'm not going to the game, but I'll be at the tailgate at the very least. It'll be fun.
Oh, there you go. At least you get some semblance of the day. You got a little experience of it. But yeah, you can't bail on someone's wedding, especially if it's someone close to you. They probably wouldn't appreciate that.
It's
Although
unfortunate.
I try to get out of weddings as much as I can. I mean, I'm not exactly. You got to get a gift, and you got to dress up, and you got to sweat your ass off in 90-degree heat in the middle of the summer.
That's what's going to happen to me. I'm going to go to the tailgate in my tux, and I'm going to bring 2 white shirts because I'm going to sweat through the first one, obviously. But it'll be very funny to go from the tailgate straight to the wedding like that. And of course, it's Texas State, so gigantic rivalry game as well. It's particularly why I'm not missing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, in-state rivalry always. That's an important game for recruiting battles. Yep.
Yeah, so that's a particular reason why I'm not missing it either. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Shout out to you guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at Jose Bouquett, at Bobano. Say hey to us. We'll see you guys next time.